Your wife worked for Judy Stern, then she said she was going to stop working for her because you were running for county commission, and Judy Stern is a lobbyist that lobbies the county. What is the status now, and if you're elected, is she going to go back working for Judy Stern?
My wife, as you know, used to be a commission aide for County Commissioner Jim Scott. When he left, when he was defeated in his re-election bid, she was let go. She has always had an interest in campaigning, and what she did was she went and she worked in that office as a campaign assistant. She was never a lobbyist. She isn't a lobbyist now. She did that for a while. She worked campaigns. She became good at it. When I ran for office, she left her employment in order to manage my campaign full-time, and she has no interest in returning to work for any lobbyist. Certainly, if I'm an elected county commissioner under the rules that the county is proposing now, that would not be permitted, and I embrace that rule, and so does my wife. And I think, you know, some have tried to make hay of that, but there's no one more honorable than my wife, and she's never done anything that even remotely comes close to of an ethical concern. And we have, you know, and I think we're handling that, and she's certainly handling that in the proper way.
Is Judy Stern working on your campaign also?
I don't get involved in discussing campaign strategy with anyone.
Well, that's not a strategy question, it's a staffing.
Like I say, I don't. When my opponents answer that question as to who's working on their campaigns, which is something I think you should be more concerned about, then I'll discuss my.
I don't think that anybody's ever not answered the question, is Judy Stern working on your campaign?
Well, as I say, when
are you embarrassed or ashamed or something?
When my opponents answer who's working on their campaigns, I'll think about discussing who's working on mine.
So you're worried about people knowing that Judy Stern's working on your campaign?
That's a campaign-related question that has to do with campaign strategy, and I'm not here to discuss that today.
Can I ask, for one who hasn't followed this race as closely, and you come in here talking about, you know, sense of ethics, you know, pride in your, you know, your background as a sponsor of ethics. Why should your opponents answer a question about who's working on their campaign and you can't?
I think that when you are,
it kind of strikes us as kind of a little bit of hypocritical.
Not at all. I think that I certainly have nothing to hide. It's simply a matter that I believe that what I'm here to do today is talk about the issues, and I think that a lot of hay has been made about who's working on whose campaigns, and we're not paying attention to the campaign issues, and I'm not going to feed into that in any way.
Well,
that's just my question.
There's a perception, and a very strong one, that the county commission has been involved with lobbyists, maybe too deeply. And you know, I just don't know how this plays. Just, you know, someone may have concern about you joining the commission where that's a problem, and you're sitting up here saying, well, you know, it just
you won't even answer.
Well,
you know,
like I say, if you want to predict future behavior, you look at past behavior. And if you look at the past behavior of my voting history, you'll see that all of the votes that I've ever cast have been completely independent. I've voted for and against lobbyists. I've been involved in all kinds of controversial no votes where I could not, in good conscience, support the proposal or a client that a particular lobbyist, whether they were involved in in funding my campaign or not. I vote on the basis of the merits of the issues that are put in front of me, and lobbyists, whether they're involved, you know, in a particular matter or not, that doesn't faze me one way or the other. Now, that's been my history. That's where I've made my bones in government. It's the only way that I'm interested in participating. But as to what voters believe, I'm the one who's knocking on doors, and I know what they care about. And what they care about are people who they can trust to do what they need done for them, and not who feeds into this, you know, stuff that other folks find interesting.
But the voters approved ethics reform.
That's right.
And the behavior of lobbyists and their lock on the county commission is one of the very matters that the ethics reform addresses. So it is very much an issue in your race, and the voters approved it when it was on the ballot. So that is why we're asking you.
There's no
but
lock.
You won't answer the question.
No, there's no. Here's the question I will answer. There is no lock on me. The only lock that I have is to serve government well, faithfully, and honestly. And no one has a lock on me but the interests of this community.
Let's talk about temperament